The world, for thou art holy now and ever and unto ages of ages. Amen.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with the reading while everybody's eating. First thing I'd like to do is to introduce the members of the Parish Council for 2022. So when I call your name, if you would, stand up. Brittany of Dullahad, she's in the back. She's secretary this year. Jonathan Michael, stand up. David Spinard, there's David. Marta Irvine, it's over here. Nick Brzezowski, it's in the back. Nan Dryden, I don't think Nan made it. She's not here. Mariana Michael, it's over here. Leith Sweets, there's Leith. Andrew Schochner is treasurer. Christine Stavros over here. And then last, and I'm going to ask him to come up here, if Patrick Hobbs would come up to the front real quick. So Patrick's been the chair of the Parish Council for the last 12 years. He finally found a sucker to take over his position. He's not leaving. We're not going to let him leave. He's the vice chair. But we certainly want to say thank you to him for the last 12 years. I tried to make a list of everything that he's done, and we'd be here until about 3:30 if I went through the whole thing. A couple of the highlights. He led a parish-wide effort to do a strategic plan, which set the course for the Parish Council. I guess 4 or 5 years ago. He was kind of our wartime leader, if you will. He led our efforts throughout the COVID and how we dealt with that. And then most recently, he led the effort for the building renovation plan that's going on. And I can't thank him enough personally for his leadership and his guidance and his patience. Anybody that knows him knows he's unflappable. He's also dealt with a million things here on the campus that people never see or are aware of. He's spent, I can't tell you how many hours here, tightening this or cleaning that, just a million different things that he's done. So from the Parish Council, from the parish, thank you very much for your leadership and what you've done. So Father's going to say a few words in just a second, but we have a couple gifts for him. One is a bottle of Knob Creek, which for those who don't know is his drink of choice, and this is, I'm sure after the last 12 years, his Knob Creek at home is empty, so this is to refill his stash. And then we have a gift card to Pat's Steakhouse, which is one of his favorites. This is really for Corey. This is for her putting up with the last 12 years. So thank you very much. And I think Father's going to say something.
You would be hard-pressed to find someone that is more reliable, more trustworthy, just an all-around more genial guy than Patrick Hobbs. It's been my absolute joy to work with him over these last couple of years. I'm glad I'm still going to work with him, but I'm also glad that he's finally getting to take a break, because this man has put, exactly as Mike said, so many hours, so many hours that have been unseen. He has not sought any credit for them. It's no secret he doesn't seek out the limelight, but he doesn't desire any praise at all. He just serves the church because it's the church and his deep love for the church. And so I've been inspired by his service and his dedication, and I mean that. I'm not just using those words. It's really exceptional, his dedication to Christ's holy church. And so I pray God grant you many, many more years, and perhaps many years where you get to take it just a little bit easier, just a smidge. Thank you for your service, Patrick.
Patrick loves being the center of attention, so he really enjoyed that. I'm going to go ahead and give the Parish Council report for the year. We've got a lot of things to get through, so I'm gonna kind of recap what's on here. As I mentioned, so from last year, as I mentioned, obviously COVID and that whole ordeal was a big part of last year and what we had to deal with. Parish Council put in a lot of work over the last 2 years trying to adjust and follow the guidance that came down from the Archdiocese. Lots of work going on behind the scenes with that, and it continues to evolve. It feels like we're close to being back to, I'm going to say normal in air quotes, but that's an ongoing thing. It was a big part of what happened last year. We'll hear some more about it later, but the building renovation is a huge undertaking for us. The biggest, from a dollar perspective, the biggest project that we've done, and that continues to move forward. It's been received very well by the parish. Our facilities, so we have a huge burden. Burden's not the right word. A blessing, I guess, to have a full campus. There's 7, 8 buildings. We have rental properties. We have multiple, the church, the chapel, the hall. There's a lot of stuff that goes into keeping those working. One of the things that we've been working on is trying to make it so that Patrick's not doing the work on all the facilities. So part of what came out of the strategic plan a couple years ago was that we needed a full-time maintenance person. So within the last couple of months, we hired Nico Castani. He's in the back, and he has been phenomenal. I don't know how he spent the hours he did shoveling snow the last 2 events, and then I realized he's 2 years old, and it made more sense in my head. There's just a lot of stuff here that needs kept up with and taken care of, and he's done a fantastic job with that so far. And then the last big item was St. Barnabas being sold, the rezoning. She's not here. Nan Dryden and David Spinard. There's Nan. Oh, she is here. Okay. Nan and David led a tremendous effort on our part to keep up with what was going on, to try to influence the process in some way that was favorable to us. At the end of the day, I know it may have felt like it wasn't the outcome that we would have loved to have had, but through their work, we were able to have that adjusted and moved closer to something that we could live with. So thank you to them, and that was just a tremendous amount of effort that went into that. Moving forward into this coming year, so I listed this as the first bullet. This was the mission statement that came out of the strategic planning, and I think it's important for us to keep this in mind with everything that the Parish Council does. To preserve and uphold our Orthodox Christian faith, strengthen our parish, and to positively impact our community. So as we move forward, the things that we consider and talk about, we need to make sure that they fulfill one of the pieces of that mission. On the staffing front, we're going to keep assessing what we need and figuring out how to get there. Security is an ongoing issue that we've talked about for a long time. We're still moving forward with some sort of camera system on the campus. There's a security team that I think everybody's aware of, but if you're not, there is a group of, I'm going to say it's 20 some odd men that are signed up for a security team. You'll see them around in the narthex during church, wandering around the property. There's training that's going into that, so it's turned into a ministry of sorts, and we think it's important to keep doing that. We have a note on here about the Archdiocese Assessment. So just as a reminder, we pay $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. He's doing this to the Archdiocese every year. So it's important that we all contribute towards that to help cover that cost. Building renovation, I mentioned that's going to be moving forward. Construction will start hopefully later this year. We'll talk about that in a little more depth. We're going to have to tackle what Taste of St. Michael looks like. It's not an obvious issue. COVID was an issue 2 years ago. It was a smaller issue this past year, but one of the main issues we have is parking. We used St. Barnabas for parking for years and years, and probably parked 2/3 of the vehicles that came over there, and that's off the table, and it's certainly off the table after we went after those guys and fought with them for about 6 months. So we have to figure out what that's going to look like. We had a much smaller event. It was very successful. We netted about $15,000 for the church this year. In past years, we've netted $45,000. So it is a big decrease. We also probably expended 80% less effort on it this year. So we're going to have to figure out what we want that to look like moving forward. We're going to continue our support of Holy Trinity, Dreams with Wings. We're going to keep working on from the financial side on how to make sure that we're all contributing. We all see the good that's coming to that, the need for that. That we have a plan for that moving forward. We still have quite a bit of money in the Father Alexander Icon Fund, so we're going to continue with that effort. I think right now there's 207. So just about $200,000 that we have still set aside for that. Just like most other things, some of that got put on hold with COVID. We need to get the iconographer back in, continue working on that. One of the specific items we're going to do is make sure that all of our leases, so we have fourplex, we have the house out front, we have the rectory, we have the apartment over the office, to make sure that all of those are updated and coordinated and stay on top of those. And then we have a potential update of our constitution coming from the Archdiocese. So those are some highlights of what's coming up. I'm happy to answer any questions right now or questions come up. I should have mentioned, we're streaming this on YouTube. We're good. So for people who weren't able to make it, we're doing that. We're also taking questions. I guess I'm saying this to people online. We're taking questions, use the chat function. Jonathan will send those questions on. And I think that's all that I have, unless there's a question right now. All right, we're going to make a quick change to the agenda. Nicholas, where are you at? So Luke's going to come up and give the soil report. He has to leave for work in a minute. That's weird for me to say. In my mind, Luke's about 7 years old, about that tall, and now he's about that tall and not 7 years old anymore.
Reverend Clergy, Liturgy, brothers and sisters in Christ. The teens are slowly getting back into activities after the COVID surge and loss of our youth director, Lindsay Birdsall. We are currently planning at least one activity per month. And over the past year, teen activities have included meeting up with the Bloomington Parish at the Maple Syrup Festival, where we enjoyed axe throwing, delicious pancakes, and maple syrup. We hope to have this event this year with the Bloomington Parish. In April, we rented a movie theater where we watched Jurassic Park. And later, over the summer, many of the teens attended the Antiochian village as campers. In August, the teens gathered at church for a back-to-school bash, where we celebrated with gyros, cornhole, and a water slide. The teens also in August volunteered at the annual Sarcoma Walk in memory of Jason Thomas. In December, we got together to set up and decorate the Christmas trees in the church. And soon after, the teens met in the double classroom in January for an after-Christmas Christmas party, where we ate lunch and had a white elephant gift exchange. Upcoming events we are planning include next Sunday, we have the Super Bowl of Caring, where we're collecting monetary donations and non-perishable items in support of IOCC ministries. Also next Sunday, as many of the teens are campers, we ask for your support at next week's Camper Bake Sale. On February 20th, we're hosting an ice skating event at Iceland after liturgy until 4 p.m. when the ice rink closes. Details to follow. And on March 21st, we're planning to attend the streaming of Man of God. It's a movie about St. Nectarios, and this is a parish-wide event with tickets on sale online. If your teen is interested in attending events and receiving emails from Soyo and are not already, please feel free to share your contact information with myself, Brittany, or Charles. Last but not least, I'd like to thank Brittany and Charles for stepping in as our youth advisors and giving us their guidance, time, and energy. Thank you for allowing me to serve as the Teen Soyo representative, and I pray you all have a blessed year.
Luke, thank you. He's done a great job leading that group. It's been great to see. Andrew, you want to come up? And Andrew Schockner's the treasurer, and he's going to give the financial report.
Thank you, Mike. It's been a great first year as the treasurer. It's a lot bigger a job than I expected it to be, but I've learned a lot about how our church operates, and I honestly didn't fully understand the financial side before, but it's a lot more complex than I first acknowledged. We did accomplish a lot this year on the financial side. Like Mike mentioned, we have resolved Mike was mentioning about the Archdiocese Assessment. We had some past assessments that were kind of in dispute with the Archdiocese. We have resolved that dispute, so we're even. We still have our assessment to file for the past year and begin making payments on this year. So I do expect that to be somewhat higher than in past years. I don't have a firm number yet because I haven't filled out the tax return yet, but it could approach $80,000 or even higher. So please do make your contributions for that. It's very important to keeping our books, keeping our budget on track. We did migrate from Quicken to QuickBooks Online. In the past we had used Quicken, which was only on the computer in the church office. QuickBooks Online is now cloud-based. We can have multiple users in there. We can have we can have auditors in there. We can have, I've invited the entire parish council to be audit-only users in QuickBooks Online so they can look and see what every transaction is doing. I try to attach all the supporting document in there, so they should have everything they need to see what's going on in QuickBooks. we've adopted a third-party bill payment service. So rather than Olga having to hunt down 2 of a dozen different people to sign checks, we now have an electronic process for getting those paid out. I know there's been a couple hiccups in the past getting those paid out timely, but in general, that service has done well for us. We don't have to keep any paper checks anymore. They're all generated remotely. We secured a $1.4 million line of credit for the construction project. We've established a new apartment fund, which we're still in the process of getting things moved over from the building fund for that. But that fund is basically an investment account that we're using for the rental properties. We thought it was wise to separate the maintenance of our church and our hall from the maintenance and income that we get from the rental properties. So we have a new fund for that. We got a new credit card that also links directly to QuickBooks Online. We greatly exceeded our budgeted revenues for last year, and I think we will be on track to do so again this year. And one other thing that we did this year that was new is we budgeted for every single fund. In the past, we had focused on budgeting for the general fund, which obviously is the most important fund. But this year, we also, you should see on your tables a copy of the budget. It looks like this. Every fund has their starting cash balance and the projected income budgeted for specific expenses. As far as this coming year, I have several goals. First among them being to document, simplify, and speed up our accounting processes. Our cash receipts and our accounts payable are the biggest ones. We also probably need to do a little bit of work on the payroll process. I'm also looking for help. I need people to help count money after church. We're working through that cash receipts process right now. To get the money into the bank the same day is my goal. So I need some help. I need some accountability there as well. We have a safe that has 2 keys. I can't hold both of them. So I need somebody else to help me there. It would be great to have an audit committee. And I would love to have a successor to myself in training as an assistant treasurer. So if anybody's interested in any of those positions, please let me know. I'll be sticking around today. Another goal for this year is I would really love to direct more people to the ACH tithing. Venmo and PayPal are great. PayPal does have some fees associated with it. If you have an option between PayPal and Venmo, please use Venmo. If you have the option to do ACH, we have forms in the office. Just email office@orthodoxky.com and we can get a form over to you. We will need a voided check with that and a signature. But those really are the most reliable for us, because we know every 15th of the month, every 30th of the month, we know what's coming in. So that really helps us budget. So that's the past year, my goals for next year. On your table, in addition to the budget, you also have a packet of financial statements. A couple disclaimers on those. These are unaudited. They have not been reviewed by an independent CPA. They are really still the first pass. I'm not 100% confident these are closed for the year, but they are probably 98% there. We have a comparison of our receipts and expenditures for the general fund to the budget on the first several pages. After that, we have a profit and loss statement. This statement is across all funds. So you can see we had over $1 million in contributions. And at the very end of that, our net income for the year across all funds was $400,000. So that is, most of that net income there is related to the building fund for the construction project. So it's not that money isn't already spoken for, but our balance is up across all funds by $400,000. At the very end of that financial statements packet, you'll have the balance sheet. This is simplified from last year because we are moving away from recording our fixed assets on the balance sheet. One thing that's kind of unique about nonprofit financial accounting is that fixed assets like the church building, the church hall, things that we are not really going to be sold ever. Those shouldn't really be listed as assets financially. So it's a little misleading to include them on a financial statement to show that they're part of our financial position. They're part of who we are at this point, I think, and we're not going to get rid of those. The apartments, the stone house, the rectory, those are ones that have not been added to the asset list yet, but they will be in the future. The delay on that is basically trying to find a cost basis for those transactions. I haven't gotten a chance to do that yet. So overall, we're in a great position this year. We're ready to tackle some major projects on that construction of the church and the hall. And if you have any questions, or if you ever want to look more into the financial statements at the transaction level, I welcome everybody taking a look at that. So please reach out to me. Thank you.
So I'm just going to make a couple notes about that. The budget for the church is a reflection of what's important to us as a parish, so I hope you see that when you go through there. There's also this, we don't really have profit, if you will. We try to use what comes in. We're not in the business of trying to have a bunch of money just sit around that comes in. So we want to have a rainy day. We want to have something as a backup, but other than that, we really try to utilize everything that comes in to go back out. And then lastly, I know he mentioned about finding a successor. He didn't realize when he took the job there's a 10-year minimum on being the church. If we could have Patrick and Brittany come up, they're going to talk about the building renovation project and the finances associated with it.
Good afternoon. So on behalf of the renovation team, which includes Nan Dryden, Nico Costanis, Mitch Mitri, Steve Jacobs, Micah Howard, Chris Henson, Tommy Sams, and David Grenius, who volunteered to kind of focus on the bells for us, I'd like to give this update to you. So real quickly, in 2021, we introduced to you this plan of renovating the church and some much needed renovation. We had a couple meetings, we took some feedback, and then in September we sent out a ballot to the parish, and it was overwhelmingly responded back to. Not only did we get a record number of votes back, but I think over 90% of them were, yes, let's move forward. So we would just like to say on behalf of the renovation committee, thank you for supporting us. It really means a lot to see such strong support, and we want to try to keep that momentum going. So we've been pushing hard. We've had a lot of discussions, a lot of meetings. The architect is officially kicked off. We've signed the contract. They're moving. We did that in October. Unfortunately, though, just because we're ready to go doesn't mean that they're ready to go. So they had to close out a couple of their projects. But we met with them last Wednesday night for 3 hours and found that they are very well engaged, and they are well on their way to having most of the design specifications and everything laid out by the end of February. So really quickly, before I get into some of the timeline, I just want to quickly go over the scope of this project. It'll just take a second, but just so everybody knows, because I constantly get questions, and so I think it's important just to keep reiterating what we want to do. So we're putting on a new roof in the church, on the breezeway, and in this building. We're restoring all the stained glass windows in the church. We're fixing all the brick in the breezeway and on the church, and to do that we have to demolish the rest of the bell tower, what's standing on the bell tower, and also the brick wall that's behind the air conditioner behind the church. So all that's coming down, and we're going to use the good brick to fill in all the spots that are bad everywhere else. We're going to regrade around the church because unfortunately the grading has settled, and so water's coming towards the basement of the church and also around the breezeway. We're updating all the chandeliers in the church to LED lights, so not only will that help conserve energy, but it really is going to help having to replace the light bulbs. And when they're 30 feet up in the air, it is a real challenge to keep ahead of that. We're going to update the church temperature control system. We're going to upgrade the heating system in this building. We're going to install a perimeter fence for security around the property. We're going to have a small parking lot expansion over in that area next to the fourplex. We're going to repair all the plaster in the church where there's been water damage. We're going to replace the windows here in this hallway / foyer in the educational building. We're going to replace those 3 large windows there in the hallway that need to be replaced. And then we're going to replace the new front, or add a front sign to the church since we don't have one right now. So that's a $1.4 million project. And as Andrew mentioned, we've already secured the line of credit for that. So we're on the clock and we're going to move forward. Just a couple other things. We're going to send out the bids in April. So we're going to take all the design specifications and send that out to 3 or 4, maybe even 5 different contractors, have them all quote the same thing, and then we can choose the contractor and then kick them off probably in May, and hopefully they can start ordering materials in June. We've heard from the architect that some roofing materials are 6 to 8 months out just because of the way things are right now. So hopefully by the time we're ready to do that, that timeline will be shortened. But we can still go ahead and get some things done. So we really want the roof to be the very last thing that's done. And so working with the contractor, we may be able to start doing some, the lighting work or the grading work or the fence work prior to the fence. But one other thing you might find interesting, David, like I said, is working with a bell company, a real bell company. They do import Russian bells from Russian foundries. And we think we're kind of leaning on 5 bells, and the company that we're working with is sending us some sound bites of what that would sound like so that we can kind of get a better understanding of that. And once we understand the size of the bells, then we can design a simple wooden structure that will go somewhere near the church to house them. So, anybody have any questions? That's awesome. All right. Thank you very much. Brittany is going to come up. Brittany and her team led the financial piece of this, and they did an awesome job. With Ryan Brooks' help, thank you. They created a wonderful website. So you can always go to that website and take a look and get reminded of what I just spoke about. So I don't want to steal Brittany's thunder, but she has a lot of good things to say. So thank you.
Hi everybody. Y'all can probably hear me, but hopefully the camera can too. So thanks for being here this afternoon. On behalf of the Finance Committee supporting the Building Renovation Fund, thank you. That's what I first wanted to start off with. Just the entire parish for your support in this extremely important initiative for our community. The Finance Committee consists of Andrew Shatner, Christine Stavros, Mike Harris, and myself, and anybody else that wants to join us. Over the past year, we've worked internally and externally to promote the funding of the project through a pledge drive and also just through soliciting one-time donations. Currently, this is the exciting part, the Building Renovation Fund has over $440,000 in it. So that's cash in the door, which is awesome. We still need $1 million more, as Pastry said, so baby steps. But our fundraising effort has been basically about a year from last year to this meeting, so 12 months. The total amount pledged by 101 families across the church is $910,923. So we've collected 440. Some of those are one time, not necessarily equating one-to-one to the pledges, but just to give everybody an idea, about 100 families have made a pledge over a 5-year period or shorter. And the average works out to about 9,000 per family that has made a pledge. So we just want to say thank you for everyone who supported us so far in kind of getting this off the ground. I'm at my next steps anyway, so I'll segue right into that, which is the committee's next step. So what you'll be seeing from us in the next month or so is anybody who's already pledged on that list of about 101, we're going to send you a letter to say thank you. We're going to tell you this is what we have on record that you've committed towards your pledge, and this is what you have left. Again, it's been 1 year, so it's a 5-year pledge, so we're not asking for it all right now, but we just want to remind everybody that this is what you had originally pledged. Is anything going to change? And this is what we have you as having sent in already. So that's the first step. The next step is our committee then comparing that list of everybody who's either pledged or made a one-time donation to families that we haven't yet heard from. So you'll be hearing from us. We'll call you, we'll email you, we'll text you, we'll set up a way to communicate so that we can work with you on hopefully a pledge or some kind of donation on a regular basis. But understanding, and first and foremost, just everybody thinking about what's right for their family and prayerfully considering what you might be able to donate to our really awesome project that we have. We're all supporting in one way or another. Like Patrick said, just highly encourage you to check out the website. We've received what we're calling some non-member donations, which has been awesome. Family and friends around the country that are interested in contributing to the project. So if you just go to Orthodox KY, right at the top, there's a link that'll take you to the Building Renovation Fund website. It succinctly summarizes everything that Patrick went over, so you can see exactly what we're going to be doing. We have a ticker up there that shows how much money we've raised and how much money we have to go. And hopefully once we get started, we can actually put some live updates on the website as far as progress to date, pictures, updates, to keep everybody informed. But one of the biggest things that came out of the building renovation meeting we had last year was what about people that don't live here or aren't an official member but want to contribute. So we set up the website so they can get their information, and it's like I wrote this. I'm segueing so perfectly into my next slide. But we accept cash, check, PayPal, Venmo. We've had some folks contribute via stock options, so we have that set up as well. And so please, if you have any questions about any of that, if you're ready to pledge or if you'd like to talk through what that might mean for you and your family, find one of us. We'd be very happy to have those conversations. And I think that I pretty much rounded everything out. Does anybody have any questions, or does anybody want to add anything, committee people? We're off to a great start. I really honestly never thought just with the year end we would have made such really just wonderful progress. So thank you all again, and you'll be hearing from us. So thank you.
Those 5-minute reports don't really do justice to the work that both of those groups have done. So thank you to those guys for all the work. And just to reiterate, if you're wanting to give, there's almost unlimited ways to do it, ways to structure it. Some people are doing a one-time gift. Some people are giving weekly. Some people are doing once a year for 5 years. There's no hard and fast rule to how that's being done. So please don't let that stop you. If you have a suggestion or something that you have in mind, reach out to anybody that's on that committee, and we can certainly make that happen. Mary Jean is, oh, there she is. Come on up. She's going to talk about the Antiochian women.
Reverend clergy, brothers and sisters in Christ. The Antiochian women, I am the president of the Antiochian women, and what you would hear in the Ladies Society, we're all the same. Formerly, we're called the Antiochian women. Due to COVID last couple of years, we haven't been active, but now we're starting to be more active. Last year we had a meeting, it was a meet and greet, where we had over 20 organizations speak about the different we had leaders from 20 organizations speak about what they're in charge of at St. Michael's. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. We have so much more here at St. Michael's, and we want you to be involved. We want you to know what's going on. So the next meet and greet will be later in the spring, And then when that happens, we'd like for you to sign up so you can hear what we have to offer for you here at St. Michael's. We had our annual ladies dinner in November at Woodhaven Country Club. We had over 50 ladies there, and we're going to plan to do it again in October. The next few months, we have a lot going on. We start our first pastry sale after church today. If you saw the table, we have a display of what we're selling. The food, you have to order it. It will be the week before Pascha, which is Palm Sunday, but we'll have order pickup on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And all that information's on the order form. It's great if you have friends that are celebrating called the American Easter. That is our Palm Sunday. They can have their desserts. You can take something then. So please look at that and help support the ladies. March is Antiochian Women's Month, so through the month of March, you will see the ladies doing more around the church. They will be ushering and reading the epistle. We will also have a Pascha card, and that's where we will have donations, where we've asked for donations. Yes, we're always asking for money, but it's not for us. It's to do something for the church. And at this point, this is for a project in our Antiochian village, which the National Women's Organization, they have us dedicate a project, one of our projects, to go to one of their projects, and this money will all go to the Antiochian village. We have a Pre-Linton Retreat on Saturday, February 26th. This is a great way for the ladies here at St. Michael's to start your Lenten journey. More information is in the bulletin. If you have any questions, please contact Natusha Olga. We're going to have a t-shirt sale in the late spring, early summer. You may hear about St. Maria Skopsova. That is an organization where we have shut-ins at St. Michael's, where the ladies have someone assigned every month to visit the shut-ins. Unfortunately, during COVID, we can't visit, but we make sure we communicate by calling and sending them cards. We also have ladies that send cards on a monthly basis. And if you have someone at the church that needs to be visited or called or checked on, please let me know so we can add them to our list. We also have Klondike Nursing Home, which is right over around the corner. They have reached out to us because they have 62 residents that are on Medicaid and don't have family, and we send cards on a monthly basis. There's a little card mailbox out there in the hall here that we keep for you to make sure you can just sign your name in St. Michael Church. Because of HIPAA, they can't give us the names. So we drop the card off to Klondike and they distribute to their residents. They've been very thankful. We did socks. The ladies collected socks back at Christmas, and they were very appreciative. Carolyn Craig is in charge of that project, so if you have any questions, please contact Carolyn. We have cooking classes. We had a very successful Ethiopian class. We have another cooking class tomorrow night. Sorry, it's sold out if you haven't sold it, if you didn't purchase. But we'll have more in the upcoming year. We also have an email. I send out emails. I'm a communicator. And I want, for the ladies that are not on the email list, if you want to be involved, please see me afterwards. And I'd be happy to get you on the email so you know what we're doing, for you to be involved. On behalf of the Antiochian Women of St. Michael's, I'd like to thank you, because without your support, we wouldn't be successful. And so like Mike and Andrew have learned, I'm always asking for something. Poor Andrew. Andrew, I need more money on the credit card. I forgot to tell him that. But even more money, I got to pay for the lunch today. Couldn't pay for the lunch, I didn't have any money on the credit card. But anyway, no joking. Seriously, all serious aside, we are always asking for money or asking for something, but it always goes to a good cause to support our church or help others in the community. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Everybody that knows Mary Jean knows that she asks when things come up. She does a great job. One of the things, and Father Lucas actually noted this to me, we do a great job of telling everybody what's coming up. We don't do a great job of telling everybody what we did and how successful it was and how many people we reached. So it's great to hear the success stories of what's going on, to know that there is activity. There's a lot of things going on that not everybody's always aware of. Next, we've got a couple of the youth groups. So we heard soil earlier, so we've got Rock and Logos. If Kat, who looks suspiciously like Nick, wants to come up here, and Alexandra is here somewhere. Oh, there she is. If you guys would like to come up here. And for those who don't know, easy way to think about it, Rock is kind of elementary, Logos sort of middle school, and Soil sort of high school ages. So, Kat.
Hi, everybody. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Nicholas Brzezowski, husband to Catherine Annie, who couldn't be here. Am I not close enough to the mic? Better? All right. Can you hear me now? All right. So I'm, like I said, Nicholas Brzezowski, husband to Catherine Annie. She couldn't be here because she just had our 4th child. Thank you. She's doing well. Baby as well. They're all home. But I'm here to talk about the ROC program, which stands for Raising Orthodox Christian Kids. Like Mike said, it's preschoolers up through kind of early grade school. ROC has been very busy, even through the pandemic, despite the restrictions that have been imposed on us. We've been able to use the Story Walk, which, if you guys don't know, if you haven't participated in one, basically we take a book that is related to the church feast at the time. We print it out on big poster boards, post it around our campus, and thankfully we're fortunate enough, we're blessed to have this campus that we can set up. You can walk around, read the story with your children, and then we'll usually have some kind of treat or activity at the end. So in 2021, we coordinated the Epiphany Story Walk with donuts, the Meeting of Our Lord candle making kits, the Lenten calendar and weekly kits, which were mailed out. It wasn't a story walk just because of the early weather related. Annunciation Story Walk, the Possible Egg Hunt Story Walk, Summer Story Hour, which is a program that we do every Wednesday. We have the kids come in and we'll read a story and do an activity, something for everyone to do, even during the summertime when they're away from school and away from church school. Trunk or treat for over 50 children. We met with Bishop Anthony for St. Michael's weekend, and then we also had a St. Nicholas Day party for over 100 people. In the coming year, we're very excited that Danielle Duvall is working on her master's in youth ministry, and she's chosen to coordinate with us to help in this year's Lenten Journey to Pascha activity as part of her master's practicum. We'll also continue our story walks and every other program to make sure our kids are engaged in their Orthodox Christian lives. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alexandra Howard, and I'm here to talk about Logos. Logos is our League of Grateful Orthodox Students, which is 5th grade through 8th grade. About a year ago, Father came to me, and we noticed that there was a need for that middle school age to have a youth group of their own. So we created it, and I'm very excited to say that we've had great participation so far. Last year, during Lent, they made goodie bags for RAC Louisville. That's Random Acts of Kindness Louisville. So they made over 100 goodie bags to donate to them. We also have had many different social events throughout the year. They had a trivia game day here where they had to find different icons between the social hall, the chapel, and the church. They had, in December, they came in and they got to decorate the tree for the social hall, and they also made over 60 cards for the Klondike residents. So I was very pleased that they were able to help with that. We are focusing really on their socialization after COVID and them getting to know each other. So we're trying to have a lot of fun events. We went to a movie night, saw Space Jam 2. It was interesting. In February, we are going to Defy Louisville, which is a trampoline park. That is February 20th, and they can still RSVP. There's more information about that in the bulletin. We are also going to, the kids have said that in middle school, church school, we've talked about our favorite Lenten treats. So we're already gearing up for Lent. So one Sunday during Lent, we are going to meet after church and share our favorite Lenten desserts. So that's going to look out for information for that. Also, our Lenten project this year is going to go towards My Dog Eats First, which is a Louisville organization that helps homeless families take care of their pets. A lot of our homeless families in Louisville end up spending all the money they do have on their pets. So this organization takes care of all veterinarian bills, takes care of food and all supplies that they might need for their pets so they can focus on their needs. So information for that is going to come out soon as well. Thank you.
Thank you guys for stepping up and leading those efforts. It's one of the things that came out of the strategic plan a couple years ago was how do we ensure that the kids, there's kids everywhere in our parish, which is a tremendous blessing. How do we make sure that we keep them active and engaged in the parish throughout the course of their childhood and into young adulthood and into adulthood. So it's fantastic to see these groups, and they're doing a wonderful job. Mariana is, so this is the next step up the ladder, the young adult group. She's going to come up and talk about that.
Hello everyone, I am Mariana Michael, and I, alongside my brother Jonathan, are in charge of the young adult programming. I think we have the most difficult job in trying to set an age range for what young adult means. I have gotten a lot of pushback on our age range, so... Can you hear me now? Yes, okay, pushback on age range. So we generally say 22, 23-ish when you finished your undergrad career to 45. But it is a 45 plus. As Father said last week after the service, if you feel like a young adult, you are a young adult. And we are more than happy to have you.
I just made that up on the spot. I'm glad you're okay with it.
It's okay, Father. I've gotten a lot of pushback from my family, who I had told to not come because they were over 45, but it's okay. So Jonathan and I took over, I would say, last year around March or April, and since then we had 4 events last year. We had a drive-by check-in. I would like to put a quick note on that. All of the titles of these events are a little bit cheesy. I am the one who came up with them. Jonathan has put up with me. So the drive-by check-in, we just wanted to have something for the young adults to come because we were dealing with COVID and we didn't know what we could quite do. So we had Lenten goodies in a bag where we just asked people to come drive by. We gave them a bag, check in on them, and let them go on their way. We then had the party in the parking lot, once more, cheesy title, where we just had a good little sit down in the parking lot, and we had snacks and drinks, and it was just a really good time of fellowship. We then went to the Lou City FC game with the young adults, very fun. And we also decorated Christmas trees. And so we are going to try to do an event each month, obviously respectful of our Lenten periods and trying to do something more service-oriented in those Lenten months. We had our first event last night and it was well attended. Please reach out if you are a young adult or feel like you're a young adult. We would love to have you. Just stop me or Jonathan. We have an email address. It is doxyap. I wanted it to be doxya, but somebody else took that. It's okay, I don't have feelings about that. So thank you. If you have any questions, please talk to us.
If you feel like a young adult thing is based on when you wake up in the morning. So when you get out of bed, that's when you determine that. And thank you to them for taking that over. Again, it's an important step along the journey. Alexandra is going to come back up and talk about Christian education / church school. She's trying to be quiet and walking.
It's so loud.
Hello again. Currently, Theron and Beth Mathis are our church school superintendents, and they have decided at the end of the year that they are going to take a step back, and I'm going to try to fill that role next year. I would like to continue the wonderful work that they have done so far, and I'm working very closely with Beth right now in navigating that transition. Currently, we have been looking very closely and examining our current curriculum to see if there are any changes that need to be made for next school year to meet the needs of the ever-changing needs of our parish. So that is a very big undertaking, that we've been counseling with Father and kind of looking at everything that's out there to see what will fit our needs. We also have coming up, there was a save the date for the last week of July. That is our Vacation Church School. So as you set dates for, camps and vacations, please keep that in mind. That is for our pre-K through 5th grade. That will be, again, the last week of July. Also, another goal that we have next year, right now that we're doing to look for next year, is we're kind of analyzing our attendance, participation, and retention. Just like everything else, church school took a hit with COVID. And we are looking at how we can get our families back into church school, what church school needs to do to meet the needs of our growing families, and how to make sure that church school is one of those many options that you have to be a part of your village to help raise your children in the Orthodox faith. Thank you.
That was a great report, thank you. All right, next up is Welfare Society. I know it says Stacy on there, but we're in for a real treat. Gail Hobbs is going to come up here. And she likes being up here in front of everybody almost as much as Patrick does.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'm part of the Welfare Ministry Committee along with Shirley Mitri and Stacy Camposano. Even though things were still different in 2021 because of the pandemic, we want to update everyone on the donations that the Welfare Ministry made. First, the discretionary fund. Father Lucas is able to use this fund to help those in need in our parish and community. The Healing Place. We donated food at Easter, their summer picnic, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Also, the Christmas program at the Healing Place. The past 2 years we have not collected gifts, but we have collected donations so the staff could purchase gifts that the clients could select for their children. The Healing Place was very appreciative of the $6,745 that was donated to help make Christmas special for the children. At Christmas, the ministry purchased gift cards for food and clothes that the church office and the food pantry committee gave to families that they knew needed some help. Gift cards were given to our 2 seminarian families. The welfare ministry financially helps children of our parish attend church camp. The ministry donated $150 to purchase backpacks for the back to school program, $400 to purchase toys for the tornado collection. Welfare ministry has already started our donations for 2022. $500 of food was delivered to the Healing Place the last week of January. $1,000 was donated to the discretionary fund. The welfare ministry is able to help others through donations that are all appreciated. The welfare largest collection is the parish Christmas card. This year, around $5,000 was generously donated. Throughout the year, donations are placed in the box in the narthex of the church or mailed to the church office. The welfare ministry always has the generous support of our parish. So on behalf of the committee, but more importantly, on behalf of the many people that have been helped, thank you.
That's a good example of the work that goes on that we need to make sure that everybody's aware of. Real quick, as Steve is walking up, we have another group that does some charitable work. Nick, you want to, and I won't make you walk all the way up here, but you want to give a real quick update on what that is? That's fine. You can talk loud.
So the charitable work group, we work hand in hand with the Welfare Society. They're very helpful supporting with us, and we've done a couple of things in the last year. So I said we have the living after. And our group has done a lot of things in the last year. The parish hosted a Luncheon drive to benefit those closets, which provides diapers, car seats, clothing, and items to foster adoptive and kinship to care families at no charge. We've also hosted a back-to-school drive in partnership with Focus to provide 75 backpacks to Alex Kennedy and the Great House Shirerock Elementary Schools. We've also collected tax gloves, mittens, and socks for the JCPS students, and hosted the toy drive for tornado victims and sent over $1,200 with the help of the Welfare Society to make the Kentucky through the Kentucky Health Assessment. This year, upcoming, we've got a Luncheon drive at the Hildegard House here in Louisville. It's a former Ursuline convent in Boca Town that provides compassionate end-of-life care to those without homes or families. A couple more things that we're all doing to help out our local and your communities.
Hello, everyone. My name is Steve Jacobs, for those that don't know me. I'm the choir director, and really try to run our music ministry here at St. Michael's under the guide of Father Lucas, and then all of the other clergy, and especially with a lot of help from Olga, who does participate quite often as well, help leading the services. But in the music ministry at St. Michael's, I always kind of go through the same types of things. The ministry is very active. There are over 500 services that the ministry participates in some way or another, whether they are chanted by our chanters or sung by our choir members. So this is, I think, very active, but also very important for the parish's life. We've always said that the divine services are the heartbeat of the parish, and so I think that the music ministry really hopefully adds to the support and that heartbeat. So with that being said, though, we have, like everybody else has talked about, have just been kind of figuring our way through the post-COVID world, hopefully post-COVID world. We were down to really 5 participants for over a year, and that ended on Palm Sunday of 2021, so that was great that we were able to add we had about 16 voices, so that 5 voices went up to 16, and we were able to do Holy Week, and we brought some chanters back as well at that point. So that was really great, because Holy Week is a lot to do, as everyone knows, and so singing wise and participation, it's good to have as many people as you possibly can. We were separated and tried to sing safely and being conscious of the things that were around us at that time, but thank goodness everything went well, and we went all the way through Ascension with that group. And then after Ascension, we opened the choir loft back up to our many members. As long as they were comfortable coming up and singing, they were all invited to do so. So before COVID, I would say that we had about somewhere between 40 and 50 active members, including chanters. And now post-COVID, we probably are more between 30 and 40 members. Some people just maybe haven't made their way back up the steps yet, but I'm hoping that they do soon, and the door is always open. And for those of you that are potentially interested in joining the choir and the music ministry here, you could always set up an audition with me, and we can do that. So that's very exciting. So this past year, we also brought back our annual Christmas concert. We weren't able to do the concert there was no Taste of St. Michael's, so usually we do a Taste of St. Michael concert as well. So that one didn't happen, but we did bring back the Christmas concert, which was, I was very pleased with the attendance. I think prior to COVID, we maybe had 800 or 900 people that came to the concert. This year was probably more in the 300 to 400 range, I would guess. But that was a great return. The choir's been working very hard. Another very exciting thing that we've done, the parish commissioned a brand new musical setting of the Divine Liturgy of St. John Chrysostom in memory of Father Alexander. And so that piece is completed, and we've been learning that, and we'll hopefully begin to sing that shortly, which then leads us to our big project this year in the choir. Our goal is to record that piece of music and be able to get that out to the parishioners and the greater Orthodox community and people that are just interested in beautiful sacred music. So that is a goal of the choir for this year. Hopefully that's going to be happening sometime in late summer, early fall. So as always, I appreciate your support and love, and like I said, if anybody is interested in joining, except for Mike, come see me, and we will get you seeing if that maybe is a talent that you have and a ministry that you can join. So thank you very much.
You don't want to be in the choir. Is there, Nick, were you going to talk about the bookstore, or Nan? Is Nan making you talk about it? And I apologize earlier to everybody online. I had Nick talk earlier, and I completely forgot that there's people watching online. My wife was kind enough to point that out to me.
Oh, I'm sure I'll hear about it too. So, all right, I'm back. So I'm here to talk about the St. Michael Church Bookstore. If any of you have or have not noticed, we've recently reopened the bookstore. We're very excited. We've made a couple changes in there. We've recently expanded into what was the old church office, and I guess it used to be the rector's office. So we've basically doubled our footprint. We're able to spread things out a little bit. We've been very organized, very busy organizing all of our books, all our existing inventory, and then bringing in new inventory to better serve the community. In particular, we've been focused on expanding the gift section, including cards, baptismal crosses, baptismal candles, and other items that you might need or might find yourself in need of for any Orthodox celebrations. We look forward to having a special opening for the Antiochian Women's Pre-Linton Retreat. So we'll be there for the retreat, and we'll have some special items on sale for that. And we'll also have a grand reopening party to be held on April 3rd. So we hope to see you all there, and hope you can come and see all of our new stuff.
I don't think he's here, but Ricky Irvine ran the bookstore for quite a while. Thank you to him for doing that, and then to Nan and Kat for taking that over. I think, is Vicky here? Is she there? Did you want to talk about the library at all?
I just have a flyer for you on my phone.
Okay. Is it up there? Okay, there's something on the table in regard to the library. If you want to read that, Vicky does not want to come up here. I need to ask. Are there any other organizations that we missed or questions that we have at this point? Okay. One of the things I forgot to mention with Patrick is he led the church through not just one but two transitions of our pastor. And most people serve in this role never have to deal with it once. He got to experience that twice. And I'm saying that to say thank you to him, but also to say we've also been blessed to continue to have wonderful clergy here, and have moved right into another person that fits that bill. So, Father Lucas, if you'd like to come up and give your remarks. Thank you.
And thank you once again, Patrick, for leading us up to this point in the last several months. And Mike, although he's been serving for many years on the council, has jumped into the parish council chair with all sorts of vim and vigor. And it's been exciting to see you and to see the wheels spinning. He's only calling me about 10 times a day now, which is an improvement. But you know what? That's an overstatement, obviously, but I love it. I love it, and I mean it. Call me anytime. Not all of you can call me. I can't have 600 families calling me anytime, but because there's so much vital work to be done, and the administration of Christ's church, and this parish, which is of course a constituent part of it, deserves everything we've got. As many of you know, we're still in this awkward time. As was said earlier, things have gotten easier over the last year, but still in many ways, the challenges faced from a pastoral perspective are very new and hard to grapple with. I'm not going to say unprecedented, because our church is very old. Our church has survived countless epidemics, countless plagues, invasions by hostile powers. There's a reason we have that phrase in our liturgy. Unseasonable weather, famines, all sorts of things like that, and our church has endured, and I have no doubt will continue to endure now. The challenge that we faced, however, having a novel disease and the way that our government and the civil authorities responded to it, right, wrong, or indifferent, have made it very difficult for us to do our work as a church without seeing lots of disruption. And so it's simply the case that although the church has endured many things like this in the past, there is no one alive that we can go to who's lived through it. And so in some ways, we're having to, at times, it felt like reinvent the wheel. We've seen many loved ones get sick. We've been sick. In case you're wondering where Father Terry is, he is out with his second round of coronavirus. He is finishing his isolation, he and Matushka Amy, in their home. I thought he would be out today, but today is his last day of isolation, not the day he'll get out of isolation. So continue to pray for us as we are working through this. Pray for our hierarchs as we're working through this. I can honestly say, compared to what I'm hearing from some of my brother clergy, St. Michael's is doing rather well. Our attendance and our giving have rebounded to a large degree. Most parishes are still quite noticeably not where they were before the pandemic in terms of attendance and in terms of giving. We've had to implement, and this was overdue, a new visitation rotation for the sick and the homebound. Every person who is on the St. Maria Skobatsova list gets visited from clergy every month in rotating basis with the priest, the pastor first, the assistant pastor, and the deacon to bring them communion. And so they get seen every single month just by clergy, plus whatever contact they get from parishioners. Could we do more? Perhaps we could do more, but I can tell you very few churches are managing that level of contact with their people, where people are getting seen 2 or 3 times a month, or getting contacted 2 or 3 times a month. And I'm quite proud that we've implemented that, and that has been successful. Among other things, we're going to start doing in this coming month, this was a new concept to me. It's a neat idea, front porch visits for people that are at home, not getting out, not comfortable coming to church. I haven't done one of these yet. It still is kind of abstract to me, but basically you go up close to their porch, but still at a distance, and you just say hi, and that means the world to them. So I'm told. It's a great thing, listen, and if it means something for people, I'm happy to do it, and I'm sure my other staff are as well. This last year, especially when I was out with my flu fog here a few weeks ago, a month ago, whenever it was, I was able to finalize the transfer from our old parish management software to the new one. Much like what Andrew had talked about with the accounting software, this is web-based, which means it can be accessed from any computer, including phones, which means we can pull up our phones that are now ubiquitous and we always have with us, and we can have the full information. This is a far more powerful program. It is almost exactly the same price as what we were paying before, but it is far more user-friendly, and the amount of reports that we can use are going to go way up. Over the summer, we hope to have, this has not yet been approved, but we hope to have a seminarian near and dear to us visiting with us. And if that's the case, we will charge him with filling out this management software so that we can run even more powerful reports. And all reports are basically, they're ways of getting information about people who might fit a certain demographic. So if we find out, for example, that a catechumen is working at UPS, we could have a tag for someone, for everyone that's worked at UPS, and we have many in the parish, okay? We can run a report, and then we'll have all of that there. If someone is in the reserves, in the military, we can run a report for people that were in the military. For people that have lots and lots of money, that we need to give money, we can, no, I'm joking. But lots and lots of reports, but this is just a powerful way of organizing data that's going to give us resources with that. In particular, there are tiers of information that you can get, and so pastors or clergy will have one tier, and they'll be able to enter pastoral notes as we visit with people, learn peculiarities about what they need or what they don't need. For example, never to come at 2 to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday because they have activities. We can enter that into a note, and other clergy can see that. And then if we have volunteers or staff working, they won't see the notes section because there might be confidential information in it. It's a powerful thing. It's all baked into the system, and as I said, it's more user-friendly, and it didn't cost any more than the current system that we're already on. So we're able to get that going on. That is kind of part and parcel to an effort I've tried to make, and I've been speaking with our parish council chairs about this as well, to just help organize. And it's always a dangerous thing anytime I'm tasked with organizing. I'm like the personification of adult ADHD. But to try to help get staff to where we are communicating a little bit better, and there's a free flow of information. We have weekly staff meetings every Tuesday. Our august deacon takes notes of those meetings and forwards them to the parish council chair so that they know what's going on, and that kind of helps keep us organized. Every week we go over who might need to be visited, who might need special care, who have we heard is sick, trying to all keep our ears to the ground with that. So that is a very good thing. As Mike mentioned, I was struck by how well our parish communicates about things that are coming up. We have many, many modes of doing this. We have a very effective bulletin, I think. We have very effective weekly mailings over email. We do some actual direct postal mailings throughout the year. And so I think we do about as much as any church could do to let people know what's coming up. But I do think it's a shortcoming in that we don't then look back and say, well, what have we done? And so we're not giving people a chance to have that information and to know, for example, the fact that, exactly as Steve said, the choir concert was a fantastic success. It went really, really well. All of the ladies' club events have, the most recent party that we had at the country club went extremely well, was well attended, people had a great time. And so to let people know what we've done and how these things went, I think that's a critical part of our communication apparatus that we need to work on. And Mike and I are talking about that, and we'll see who we can kind of get involved in helping us with that process. I also have mentioned to some of you, and perhaps publicly, some ministries that I want to present in addition to some of the ministries that we already have active here. Over the course of the last year, I've seen multiple opportunities for these, multiple needs, and I've also seen multiple instances of people showing talent with those needs. And I think that's the most effective way to engage volunteer ministries in any parish. You look, what can people do? What do they want to do? How are they willing to serve? And then where are the needs and how can they be plugged in? And so I'm going to try to promote 2 ministries in the coming year. The names are not yet 100% locked in, so you can consider these placeholders, but something like a handyman ministry. We have a number of people with way too much money and tools, because power tools are toys for men, we all know that, who are just itching for an opportunity to show them off and to use them. And for people who, especially in this economic environment, may have small jobs around the house. I have a shower curtain rod that just keeps falling. I have a drill. All I have to do is get a masonry bit. I can do that myself. Not everyone can. My wife stood in disbelief, as I said, that I was going to drill into our tiled wall. And she thought for sure that would make the whole thing come tumbling down. So some people are just overwhelmed with such things, okay? But we have many people here who can help with that. And of course, you can't get a contractor for small jobs like this. You can barely get a contractor for medium-sized jobs in this environment. I think that's a tremendous thing that we could do to help not only get people some service that they might need, but also to give other people a chance to serve, which from where I sit is probably even more valuable. Something I mentioned in the past is the publications ministry. Many of our spiral-bound pew books, they're over a decade old now, and the paper and the covers in particular are starting to crack. Not only replacing those, but also considering other brochures, pamphlets, booklets, service books that we could make in-house for a fraction of what we would pay to have someone do it professionally. The choir alone could greatly benefit from having books, booklets, wire-bound things, spiral-bound things that could organize their music and their liturgical text. Clergy, likewise. And so I can see many opportunities for that elsewhere. I've mentioned that, I know, before. I think in the last ministry fair that we did with the Ladies Club, I mentioned that. But I'm going to be promoting that. In summarizing, this is an incredibly active parish. Metropolitan Joseph used to famously, when he would visit churches, he would pick up their bulletins, and he would look and he would try to see how many social events they have at the church versus how many services they have. And he would want to see balance. Ordinarily in a church where you see this many services, you would not see a lot of social events. And when you see this many social events, you wouldn't see this many services. But at St. Michael's, we got it all. And we only have it all because of the tireless work of many of our clergy, our staff, our singers, our chanters, and the tremendous volunteers that we have staffing every organization. It's true, this active liturgical life, and we're well over 500 services a year, is at the core of what we do. But creating new or supporting existing ministries that can encourage the life of fellowship in the church is also an important task, and it's one that we have not been behind on, but one that we must continue to put a lot of energy in keeping up. And so I ask all of you to continue to pray, to think about how God could use you in service of your fellow human being. But above all, in this parish, where it's quite easy to fill up your dance card with this event or that event, do not forget your first love. In all things, we must remember who we serve and why we serve. Why there is this parish in the first place. And so, with great humility, as much as we can muster, we ought never to forget, in the face of all of this success, that if we don't do these things for the glory of Christ, we're just treading water. We're just a noisome cymbal. And so this day, please recommit your hearts and your minds to the one true living God. Worship him in spirit and truth in as many services as you can, and serve your fellow man with love and dignity, that you might celebrate Christ's holy name. Thanks.
So thank you, Father Lucas, for your words and your guidance. Somebody online mentioned that one of the things we hadn't talked about today that is the senior luncheon ministry. So every Thursday, there's an event here in the hall that we provide lunch for an extremely, it may even be a voluntary donation. $1 for seniors, and we typically serve 50 plus or minus folks every Thursday. So another
70 is not unusual.
70 to 100. So another one of those items that's going on a regular basis that everybody needs to be aware of. Before Father comes up to say the closing prayer, I wanted to mention there's a document that we passed out to the Parish Council at the start of the year, and it's from the Archdiocese. It's a kind of how to be on the Parish Council document. And one of the things that it mentions in there, and I think it's appropriate not just for people on the Parish Council, it applies to clergy, to staff, to all the people on the agenda that spoke today, those that didn't speak today. Everybody in these positions is doing their best. So please keep that in mind as things come up, as you have questions, as you have comments. Everybody in these positions is giving of their time, of their talents, of their treasures in a lot of cases, and doing their best. So we all ask for your prayers, we ask for your cooperation, and for your involvement with all the things that we've talked about. Thank you to everybody that stayed today and for your interest. A couple of us, I'm sure, will be around here after if you have questions that you either hadn't thought of or you didn't want to ask in front of everybody. And Father, you will say a closing prayer, and we will go.
In this season of the meeting of the Lord, let's close with the prayer of St. Simeon. In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Lord, now lettest thou thy servant depart in peace, according to thy word. For mine eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared before the face of all people, a light to enlighten the Gentiles, and the glory of thy people Israel. Amen.